Hi, I'm Dr. Chua and welcome to Adjusting Your Heart. Our topic today is how to cultivate a humble heart. I'm saddened by the plight of those who have been severely devastated by the Typhoon Odette. It is heartbreaking to see them lost their homes, their livelihood, and their loved ones. Besides the typhoon victims in the Visayas and Mindanao regions, there are still so many people in dire need. So let's reach out to them by setting aside our entitlement mentality and replace it with an others-centered mentality. C.S. Lewis defined humility this way. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. So it means that to be humble, it doesn't mean we have to have poor self-esteem or we have to look down on ourselves. Rather, instead of being too focused on ourselves, we learn to care for others. Psychologist Jordan LaBouffe of the University of Maine remarked that compassion is hard if you don't have humility. Studies reveal that humble people are more helpful to others and tend to make better employees and bosses. You can check out our previous videos on how to cultivate a giving heart. There's another entitled How to Cultivate a Kind Heart. So my first point is let go of the entitlement mentality. People who have an entitlement mentality feel that they deserve special treatment or recognition even for something they didn't earn. They believe that the world owes them without ever giving anything in return. Their personal needs come before everyone else's needs. And when you don't give in to their demands, they cause a big scene. They tend to take things and even friends for granted because they're not grateful for what they have. In short, they are self-centered. Here's the difference between immature thinking or the entitlement mentality versus the mature thinking or others-centered. Like immature thinking would say, I deserve it. I'm entitled. Pay my bills. Take care of me. Do not offend me. It's really all about me. But a mature way of thinking is, I must earn. It's about others. Challenge my views. I will buy my own stuff. Nobody owes me anything. And I'm responsible for my success. My second point is treat others with love and respect. How do you treat others, especially those who serve us? Do you treat your maids, drivers, janitors, security guards, waiters, messengers, cashiers, or subordinates with love and respect? It's a good thing that after I became a Christian, I've learned to be courteous, no matter to whom I'm talking to. One time, I called Chankashek College to ask if there was classes because there was a typhoon. During those days, cell phones or internet weren't available yet. Although I thought it was a janitor that I was talking to, I was polite. Good thing, because I was shocked to find out in the end that I was talking to one of our deans. Allow me to introduce to you Yaya Susita. I got to know her at Makati Gospel Church, where she worships on Sundays together with her employers, Tita Hasmeet and Kim C. Yaya is described by Tita as trustworthy, hardworking, and loyal. In fact, she has been with them for 34 years, and they treat her like a family member. Yaya spoils both of them and was even willing to work for them for free. Kim adds that Yaya is very responsible, caring, and her go-to friend. Yaya goes the extra mile of doing things for them. She would even buy gifts that she knows they like. No wonder they treated Yaya to Japan in 2017, where she saw snow for the first time. Not only that, Tita Hasmin and Kim took her with them to Hong Kong 4 times and to Singapore twice. Yaya contracted a heart problem 3 years ago, but Tita and Kim didn't send her away. Yaya's loyalty was rewarded. On the other hand, Tita and Kim's love for Yaya earned them a trustworthy and faithful helper, which is very hard to find nowadays. Let me also share with you the inspiring story of Xu Bingyang, who carried his best friend, Chang Zhe, to school for 6 years. That's because Chang Zhe contracted myasthenia gravis at the age of 4 and can no longer walk. She would hold him by the hand and support him by the side as they slowly moved together. He would get his water bottle, fetch lunch, and even go to the bathroom with him. And he never complained in front of teachers and classmates. Another inspiring teenager would be Xie Xu, who was hailed as the most beautiful student in China because he carried his best friend, Zhang Qi, to and fro school for 3 years. He would even wash his clothes, get his meals, and both boys were top of their class in 2015. There are a lot of people with disabilities, or we call them PWDs, persons with disabilities, whether it's physical, mental, or developmental. Please be kind to them. Show them respect and love them. Befriend them. Don't make fun of them. Don't bully them. Open the door for them. Help them carry heavy stuff. Let them go first in line. I remember the last November 30, we went out with my parents for the first time in 2 years. We went to SM Aura. Hans had to use the escalator because the space and the inside the elevator is very limited. So I was inside together with my parents and my mom was in a wheelchair. And when it went down to the another floor, somebody with wheelchair wanted to come in. So what I did was that I stepped out and I used the escalator instead so that the one in the wheelchair and the one pushing the wheelchair could go in. So I hope that we would just give up our rights and help those who are in need. Another way to do that would be, please don't use the restroom or parking spaces reserved for PWDs, unless you are a PWD yourself. If you or your church wish to help the PWDs, you may partner with God is Able International Foundation Incorporated. Mr. Moses Chong established this organization to raise awareness, help, and share God's love to the PWDs, or for them, they call them PADs, people affected with disabilities. So this foundation can help set a basic disability ministry training in which they'll talk about proper wheelchair assessment and maintenance, etc. After the training module, your team can organize an outreach event in which wheelchairs and other disability aids can be distributed, courtesy of God is Able Foundation. They also encourage the PADs through their weekly broadcast on Saturdays 6 p.m. at 702 DZAS on the AM radio. They are also on live stream via 702 DZAS Facebook page, and you can also catch them at GCTV Signal, channel 185. Another person who served the marginalized is teacher Yolanda Abadilla Remo of Lucena City. She taught in private school for 12 years and had been teaching in public school for the last 18 years. That's a total of 30 years. On top of that, she uses her spare time to help educate the less privileged and students with special needs through Project KKK, Kariton ng Karunungan Gabay sa Kaunlaran. She's thankful to God for people who partnered with her, like Mrs. Charito N. Laguador, an English teacher who converted the waste management cart into a moving library, which they called Kariton ng Karunungan, or Carts of Knowledge. She's also thankful for the English teachers who donated money, storybooks, games, and other educational materials. She's also thankful for the volunteers, some of whom were her former students. And of course, also for donors who gave financial aid. In Purok Baybayin, their students grew from 15 to 80. Many are children of carpenters, jeepney drivers, and tricycle drivers. Most of their parents have lost their jobs during the pandemic. And they recently started a new branch. They can only select 20 students due to the limited space in the squatter areas. So in case you want to support their cause, you may contact Ma'am Yolanda at the number below. The number is also her Gcash. Jesus is the best example of humility. He didn't have an entitlement mentality, but always treated others with love and respect. He's God, and he gave up so much when he became a human being. As God, he's omnipotent, all-powerful. But as a baby, he had to rely on his earthly parents, Joseph and Mary, for his needs. As a human being, he gets tired, thirsty, hungry. He gave up the right to use his powers of omniscience and omnipresence. Like, he can't know something unless God the Father revealed it to him. He can't be anywhere, but can only be at one place at a time. Philippians chapter 2, verses 5 to 8 says this: In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ. Though being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God as something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing, by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Jesus gave up his rights to the point that he suffered on the cross, all because he loved sinners like you and me. And that's the good news of Christmas. 1 John chapter 4 verse 10 and 11 says, "In this is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another." So I hope that all of you would come to know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. So my friends, to cultivate a humble heart, let's let go of the entitlement mentality and treat others with love and respect. If you're blessed by this video, please like, subscribe, and share it to others. And now I'd like to thank Gigin, Girly Dizan, Jonina, Ryan, Gabriel Maravilla, and Cheryl Joy Apaga. Next week, our topic will be how to cultivate a forgiving heart. Merry Christmas to all.